At this time, we do have quorum. Mr. Acevedo, Mr. Tanny Berg, Eduardo Mela, Walter Miller, and Jackie York. And that is quorum. If you please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll move on to item number 1, public comment. Is there anybody for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, there is no one signed up for a public comment.
Beautiful. Item number 2, approval and signing of minutes from October 20th, 2022.
I've read the minutes, I move to approve them. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Berg. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Walter Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 3, discussion and possible action regarding the designation of a voting delegate and alternate to attend the 2023 Texas Association of Appraisal Districts Conference.
Board members, the Texas Association of Appraisal Districts has a conference every February, and we always like for a board member and then an alternate to be chosen from the board members. From the group that's here right now, Mr. Berg went last year. So we try to do it now so that we can get the early bird specials. All of you could go if you'd like, but I know your schedules are what they are. We sent you the kind of the agenda and the dates, so we're just asking for the board to pick a delegate and an alternate if you could.
I would suggest Ms. Ramirez and Mr. Stout.
Well, they have to have the time.
I believe.
They have to have the
Hang on,
time.
guys.
They're not here.
And they have to commit.
I truly believe they need to be present and accept this commitment.
Because we
So,
can push it on, I don't mind pushing it on.
at this time, I would like to nominate Walter Miller.
No, I can't.
You see what I mean? How about you, Jackie?
Decline.
You know what? My dad's got cancer right now.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry to hear
I'm
that.
kind of, that's why I've missed a few. We're going back and forth to Houston. So otherwise I would.
Okay, I apologize. Dr. Acevedo?
I would need to not answer right now.
So at this time, I would like to nominate myself and Tanny Berg. Tanny is the primary, I'll be the alternate.
I'll second that.
Nice.
So I have a second by Mr.
Berg.
And you'll second? Okay, I have a. All right.
I will tell you guys this, these are great conferences, and we have a lot, when you go there, you learn a lot about really what appraisal districts do. You have a better grasp of what they do, and you really get a feel for where we are in comparison to Houston or Dallas or Fort. We are so light years ahead that they actually learn from a lot of the stuff that we do here in El Paso. So I heartily encourage, if you get a chance to go to one of these things. I think it changes your perspective because you relearn.
No, it definitely sounds interesting. I just need to.
Time.
Yeah,
If
it's like a Sunday through Thursday, I'm looking at it, and I just need to see where I'm at with other commitments.
Dr. Acevedo, if it's all right, Mr. Chairman, if you decide, we'll go ahead and book these because of the early birds, but if you decide later, we can always send more.
And we'll have a
So
great time.
definitely, yeah, we can
Okay.
send you.
Yes, let us know. We'll be 3 of us. Actually, it'd be better.
By when is the early bird over?
Middle of January.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely give you a better answer by then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this
Anyway, I
time, I
encourage
did have a
you.
motion by Mr. Berg and a second by Walter Miller. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding the Texas Smart Buy membership program.
Board members, we are already a member of this program. They're changing their name of the program and making some changes. So they have requested everybody that is a member to then, again, pass a resolution that we're going to continue to be a member. In the application, it does ask, what date did the resolution pass that had you as a member? This DIR, this Texas Smart Buy program is, I think most of the schools, everybody uses them. It's a great tool. So we're just asking permission to continue with the contract and sign a new one because of the changes that they're making in their name and their contact.
Move to approve.
Any questions, discussion?
I just had a comment. Like for these items, I've said this before, a nice little backup, give me a contract, nice paper, It's really, it sounds like a good thing and we renew it every year, but
Right.
it's just helpful to have a 1 or 2 pager on it.
Well, we did put the bullet points in here. We don't put the contract because it's not official until the board's approved it. And then we sign it, so that's why the contract's not in there, because of confidentiality. This is an open meeting and we are live streaming on YouTube. So there are some things that we just don't put in there, but we did put all the bullet points. So thank you, Dr. Acevedo.
Is there a specific on this item that you have an issue with?
No, I don't have an issue with it. I'm just saying in general, overall, I just appreciate more
But I mean,
backup.
how do we do more? So I agree with you. I want the most I can get. But I don't know how we could do more on a smart buy contract. I mean, unless you're saying in general, you just want 2 pages or page or 2 of every item on the agenda.
Yeah, so like,
It would be real onerous to put that on the executive. It would cost us a lot of money because you'd have to assign somebody to actually write it up and put it in. That's time.
well, I mean, like for example, a year ago, we were sitting here and we got a big purchase. And if we didn't do it, we were gonna miss out on it, right? And we had the representatives here. And that was really difficult for me to just process as come and tell me this, right? We're buying Smart Buy. You could give me a past contract. It's not hard. It's not a past contract
So
that was.
what would you like
Yeah, I'm
for the
just trying to
for
say,
the CAD
let's get you
board?
what you want.
How can
Yeah, I don't
we
know how.
how can we correct or give you the confidence that you need? So you want us in the board packet that's mailed to you? Do you want additional information?
Yeah, I mean, just a page. Give me, I mean, a high-level summary, a memo. I don't know what it
You
is.
can't put the proposed.
Or a past contract, like we want to do this because what you just said.
It's public information anyway. You can get it under,
Right.
Freedom of Information Act.
Right.
So I don't know why you couldn't put the contract in there.
Oh, it's maybe so. That's something we can work on, Dinah. Is maybe adding some additional
It's not a big deal.
paperwork or.
I know the last board meeting, we had a lot of information in there, but nobody even looked at it or asked us about it. But we will continue to try to do more. Last board meeting, we had a lot of stuff in the packet, a lot of extra that we wrote up, so we'll just continue to expand.
And maybe no one, I couldn't make it to the last meeting, but maybe no one asked because they read it and they got their clarity. I wouldn't be asking anything on Smart Buy if I would have just read it and I'd be like, okay, cool. So it's not necessary to ask more questions. It's just more to have checks and balances on that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Acevedo.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions, concerns that we may have? Okay, at this time, I need a motion.
You have a motion.
No. Who's?
Miller,
Oh,
Mr.
I
Miller.
didn't hear that.
Need
I'm
a
sorry.
second.
I need a second. There you go. So I have a first by Mr. Miller and a second by Mrs. York. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. This time, moving on to item number 5, taxpayer liaison report.
Good evening, Board Directors. Tracy Carter, Taxpayer Liaison Officer. Last year, we had a busy month. Judge Bettis was here. She was interviewing for the Appraisal Review Board members for 2023. She appointed 28 members. 21 are new ARB members, and 7 of them are reappointed. And so right now, we are currently at 45 members for 2023. The Appraisal Review Board will be in session January 17th through the 20th to hear motion to correct protest. And as a taxpayer liaison officer, I am responsible. I must forward to the State Comptroller's Office all the comments and suggestions that we received other than the ARB surveys. So I want y'all to rest assured that I did mail that out. That was sent to them on the 2nd of November. The deadline for that is December 31st. So that was already sent. Do y'all have any questions for me?
I do have a question.
Yes.
You said that you had 28 new people sworn in, and of them, 7 of them were returning members?
Yes, they had to reapply for their.
Is that a normal turnover?
Yes, sir.
You lose about that many every year?
Yes, sir.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the reason.
Seems like a lot. but-
Well, the reason this year was even more is we added, remember, we went from 35 members to 45. So that's why we had more. Usually we have 12 to 18 turnover, but because we had a little bit bigger turnover, but we had added 10 new ones. So that's why it made it seem so high.
But you have that kind of turnover.
Right, right.
Thank you.
I have a question,
Yes,
Yes.
and I hope I can ask this. And if I can't, just stop me. But since I missed last month, I was approached by actually 3 different realtors that knew I sit on this board. And they had a question, and they asked, when Central Appraisal is out doing the appraisals, are they allowed to go into homes? Because I was under the impression they're not. But I got 3 people that complained, and I directed them to you. I don't know if they called you, but they said that they caught someone from Central Appraisal in their new homes.
Inside or in the property?
Inside.
If the homes are not finished and no one's living in them, then a lot of times the appraisers will go in to get the measurements and to make sure, like if it's loft height, but that's only if they're not occupied. If they're occupied, they knock on the door. If no one answers, then they try to get the measurements. If someone answers and they leave their business card there, we're responsible for getting accurate measurements. If we don't have access, which a lot of times we don't, people ask us to leave, we will leave. But we're going to estimate and we're going to square it off. So it's not going to be the right measurements. So we, of course, we send out notices and we tell everybody, look at your notice, look at your square footage. No, they do not go inside if they're occupied unless they're invited. And we've told our appraisers, if it is a caregiver who's taking care of children, you don't go in. Even if you're invited, you don't go in, you leave your card, you ask them if you can walk around so you can get the measurements.
So my question is, they are allowed to go into a builder's home? It wasn't occupied, but it was still his home, and he was very, very upset when he came in to find an appraiser.
If there's nobody living there
No,
and
it
it's
was
open.
vacant, but still.
And if it's vacant and it's open and we can walk in, like, because they're building it, then we will, just like anybody
allowed to
else.
then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what the question was, because
Yes,
he
ma'am.
asked me, and I directed him to you, but he was very upset.
We have some subdivisions that are gated that someone will give us access to so we can measure for permits. And they will tell us, they will send us a letter saying cease and desist and do not come in. And so our appraisers won't, but those values are then estimated.
Right.
And they're not estimated accurately because we don't have access.
Right.
We'll use aerials and we'll do the best we can, but that's why notices go out. Our appraisers are hamstrung by what they can and cannot do, and trying to get accurate information on the appraisal roll is sometimes difficult. If they're asked to leave, of course they'll leave. But they always will leave their card. They have their ID, they have a sweatshirt or a shirt that has their logo on it. We have a car.
Yeah, he got the card.
And then we always give more, and then they also have their Texas Department of License, their license from TDLR, and they have a CAD badge that has their picture on it and their name.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know how to answer that, because I had 2
Yeah.
different ones call me.
If it's open and is not locked, then they're going to walk in like anybody else that might walk in to look at it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for that. Item number 6, Chief Appraiser's Report.
First of all, I'd like to pass out some photos. We're going to go over a few things on the director's report. We've been involved in multiple community service projects, our staff has. Mr. Robert Garcia from HR and the HR department. We've had over 6 different, 7 things that we were involved with. All the way back through July with the back to school drive. This was working at the food bank. Yesterday, we're going to do it again on the 30th. The staff went and worked at the food bank and helped distribute food. We took collection for the rescue mission and the Humane Society. We collected, for the rescue mission, we were collecting jackets, gloves, clothing, Humane Society, any type of cat food, dog foods, bedding, anything like that, or cash donations. We also are working with Daryl Mond from the Veterans Associations on a canned food drive. We did, of course, the back to school drive with the backpacks. What we've done on the backpacks is we work with these schools that are in the rural area, Tornillo and San Eli. They tend to be forgotten because they are so far out there. So we work with them and supply backpacks. We get donated backpacks and supplies. So I wanted to kind of update you guys on some of the community service programs that we are working on. We're also part of the Texas Association of Assessing Officers, Far West Texas chapter here in El Paso. And so our staff, along with the city tax office, Delgado Acosta Law Firm, the county tax office, we did collections and donations to the YWCA Transitional Living Center and also to the Head Start program in San Lazario for their Thanksgiving and Christmas. So this is a busy time. Not only are appraisers out in the field trying to pick up all of the improvements, they're also very involved in community service projects. We had a great Halloween. Thank you, Mr. Berg, for coming in and judging. The departments on their own time, on their lunch hour, before we open or after we close, we are here. Staff is here from 7 to 6. We do alternative. So some folks are off at 5, but they stayed to decorate. The departments all decorated and did a, kind of a friendly, oh, mine's better than yours. And folks came dressed up. They used their own money for buying the decorations that they put up, and they had a really great time. We allow them to do like a little potluck, in the departments so they can do that. This year, we told our staff, bring your kids. Bring your children and let them walk through the different departments. The departments had candy to hand out to any of the employees, students, or to any of the public that came in and had their children. We had suckers and stuff for them. So, well, we all had a really good time, and I think it went over really well. Speaking of employees' children's, we're Monday, the 12th, we're doing for the first time a Bring Your Student to Work Day. And so the employees are allowed to bring a student from the kindergarten to 12th, one student per family. If they don't have a child, they can bring a niece, a nephew, a neighbor, does anybody want to sit in and see what they do. We're not going to send them out in the field because of liability, but we will have them sit in here. We're going to try and have some fun activities like measuring a room, or taking what would you look at on a house? Would you different fun things that programs that we can throw at them, and we're going to supply lunch for the kids that come. We already have a really good sign up. They had to sign up in advance, so this is going to be our first time to do that. So we're very, very excited about that. Our health fair, for those that weren't at the meeting, and I don't think we had time to really talk about it. We had a health fair October 12th. We had over 35 vendors that came in. It was employee health fair. Not only were we having vendors from different insurance companies and medical supplemental companies and just healthcare, nutrition, exercise. We also had 2 different groups that were coming in and giving COVID and flu shots, and also the shingle shot, I think. Shingle shot. So we provided that for our employees. Education-wise, we've had several courses. We've had the intro into tax law, the 2 courses, the ethics course, COSTA course, the sales comparison, the income approach to value. All these are courses that are required by the state of Texas, by the Comptroller's Office and the Property Tax Education Coalition. We also brought in an IAAO course, the Business Personal Property Audit course from the IAAO, International Association of Assessing Officers. And we had folks from out of town, out of state, that came in. We had a couple from New Mexico that came in to take the course, and some from even further away that took that course. So we were very excited about offering that course. And I think that's it, unless the board has any questions or comments on what we're doing.
So I want to add about that Halloween. First, let's talk about the Halloween thing, and I want to tell you that it wasn't.
Wait, did you come in disguise?
I came scary because I came as myself. It was real scary, but it was amazing to see the esprit de corps. Everybody participated. I didn't see anybody who didn't. I mean, every employee that and they did it after work. They did it at their own nickel. They were committed. They're committed to their work here, but they're committed to being part of the team. And to me, that was very reassuring. I wish you guys could see how elaborate these costumes were, and it was amazing. I didn't bring it, but they sent me a fob, a chip on all these pictures. If you have them to show the board, it was amazing. But more importantly, like I say, when I went from department to department, it was how much they cared about what they were doing. It wasn't just about dressing up in Halloween costumes. It was being a part of the Central Appraisal District. I know in my own company, I wish my staff was as committed and dedicated as your staff, Dinah. So I just have to commend you on that. I thought it was a really, really fantastic event, only because 100% of your people participated, and they participated with all their heart. It wasn't just, I'm going to put on a mask from Target and that's it.
Well, they were very excited about having a board member here, so that was
I had
good.
a great time. I couldn't stay much longer than just do the judging, but at the end, it was very hard to make a decision as to who won and who didn't win. They all won. I mean, when you have that kind of a group that has that kind of a feeling, you really don't want to call anybody a loser. So I thought it was a great organization, a great time. And then I want to talk a little bit about the food bank because it's near and dear to my heart. But we lost 100 dedicated workers at the food bank when the governor decided to move the National Guard away from the food bank in El Paso. They're now building the wall down in Brownsville, and that's great, and I don't have a problem with what they're doing, but all of a sudden we didn't have a way to distribute food, and it was organizations like Helena Troy and ADP. These are the companies that stepped forward and made sure that their employees came in to fill the gap. Well, I'm proud of you, Dinah, that you had our group also on their own, if they wanted to, go down there. And I think that they were impressed. The line, if you ever get a chance to go down and look at that food bank, it's not far from where you are. It's sad to see how long the line is of people that are waiting to get food. Remember that 42% of the people who take food out of that food bank, 42% are 9 years old or younger. So we feed 9-year-olds down to babies out of that food bank. 28% are 75 years old or older. So that's 70% are either under 9 or over 75. So it's your neighbors. And so what the Central Appraisal District did in providing volunteers, especially now before Thanksgiving, there's no way of saying thank you that would satisfy how appreciative we are for that kind of community service and community dedication. So I appreciate what you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. A couple of other things real quick that I forgot to touch on is we are currently working, James Thompson, our Director of Evaluation, and the Appraisal Department managers are working with the State Comptroller on our property value study audit and the methods and procedures audit that the State Comptroller does. So we're already in contact with the field reviewers and have already been giving them a lot of data that they've been asking for. They spent a week with the field reviewer on the property value study that is reviewing the commercial valuations and worked with that field reviewer for a whole week. So our staff is very busy with that. I wanted to let y'all know I've already signed the document with the City of El Paso to have the mobile unit here on our parking lot the last week of January for people to be able to pay their taxes. The mobile unit accepts everything except for credit cards. So they will check, cash, money order. So they will be here the last 3 days of 1 week and the first 2 days of the next week in January. I believe that those dates are the 25th, 26th, 27th, and the 30th and the 31st. We'll have the mobile unit here. Just sign that agreement. They haven't signed it yet to send it back, but we've got that in the works. And I forgot to tell you, I'm very excited about this. Our HR department has, through SHRM, which is an HR association, we have a management course that we're offering to all of our managers. It's kind of a year-long course, and you do modulars, and that is in the process of being set up right now. We've all got our passcodes, and so management will also be getting some additional management training and education this year. So, okay.
I want to make one recommendation to you, Dinah, and that is when you have new board members or even old board members, I don't think anybody understands all the departments here at the Appraisal District. So one of the things judging this contest gave me the opportunity to do was to visit every department and understand what they do and how they sync together. I think you ought to have an orientation, if somebody wants it, to be able to take a trip through this appraisal district and visit the departments, to better understand what you do on a day in, day out basis. Not just come to a board meeting and
Believe it or not, we used to do that, but then nobody showed up. So we'll try it again.
If they don't want to show up, that's okay, but we ought to offer.
We will, and another thing, well, we always ask anybody new that comes on when we contact them, we have them come in, we want to walk them around, show them everything. But also in March, we have our departments come in and do a presentation. Well, this last March, we didn't have quorum.
Right.
So of course, we didn't have the presentation because then we get into too many other things and the time-wise. But we'll start that program up again, and anybody would like to. It's real easy. If they'll just call us, we'll be happy to spend a half an hour. Yes. Yeah, any board member that's like, we meet with them when they first get appointed, and then we ask them, if you would like to spend more time with us, we'll be happy to show you around. Come in, see that when the hearings are going on. So we do about a 1 hour orientation when they first, I knew you, so I didn't do, yeah.
I just think it's important.
I'm just kidding. Okay, thank you, board members.
That's good.
my report.
That's awesome. Any other questions before we go into executive session? Okay, at this time, we will go into executive session. Executive session under the authority of Texas Code 551071 and 551074 to discuss legal and Good evening, and we are back from executive session. The time is 6:09. Discussion, possible action regarding the previous item. There's all those in favor for the approval of the evaluation?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a first by Mr. Tanny Berg, a second by Ms. York. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Any discussions? Yes.
Yes, if I may, thank you, Board, for the vote of confidence. I appreciate the comments that we discussed, and I will be reviewing those and working on those, the goals that you've set for me. So thank you very much, Board.
Thank you. Any further questions that we need to talk about, concerns? Meeting adjourned. The time is
Have a good Thanksgiving.
6:10. Thank you.
Yes,
Good night.
happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanksgiving, everybody. Yes.